Here we go. Hello and welcome. Welcome. Me and Jimmy having like a start off. No, this is Total Spotfest. Coming back at you here. That is Jamie. I am JJ. That is Austin Reddick here. We got hardware galore out the thing. No more fuzzy pictures. Sound should be good. We want to thank you guys for coming in here. Jamie's rubbing up his belt because we're going to talk about that in a second. But welcome to Total Spotfest. We got a lot to get to. We had some local wrestling. We had a pay-per-view. We got our belt to talk about. Build up for all sorts of stuff. Just stuff on stuff, Austin.
It's a lot of stuff. Big wrestling weekend. Another fantastic AEW pay-per-view. An episode of Dynamite. We'll get to that, but not excited for the pay-per-view. But the pay-per-view was fantastic. Okay. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Jamie, how you doing, man? I know you got the little reprieve, and then you're back in like full softball mode here, coming up in very short order.
Yeah, I'm officially making my trip down to Oklahoma City Friday, and lots and lots of softball going on there, and not only am I going to be in the town where the Women's College World Series is going to be, but it looks like it's going to be the winners of the Western Conference in the NBA as well. So there could be a lot of sports going on in OKC while I'm there. Might want to try to catch a Thunder game for like $800 a pop.
Oh, have fun with that. Hey, Squatch. But no, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys joining us, giving us some of your time. If this is your first time here, hello. Feel free. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the little bell icon. Know when we go live. Spoiler, we went live this past Friday. Not just on Wednesdays. But give us a big thumbs up.
Too. Go back and watch it.
If you want to see what Spicy Jamie IRL looks like, go back and watch it, because that's the definition. I went back and watched it, Austin, and Jamie didn't stop moving the entire time.
Speaking of moving on the pre-show,
did you know you did that? You didn't stop.
I made history as the first person to physically win the Pick'em title, but the camera did not catch it.
That's
the great thing is I had the microphone sitting by me so you could hear me count 1, 2, 3, even though we couldn't see you. We all know it happened.
It's probably better the camera didn't catch it, just because somebody forgot to bring the belt. We won't say who.
Yeah,
certainly wasn't me.
Could be the person who is beltless.
So, anywho, that was we're gonna talk a little bit about that at the end of the show here. So, Fountain City Pro, our one of our great local promotions here, had their latest show, their emo show, which Jamie refused to sing any emo song the entire night, not getting in the mood.
No emo
whatsoever.
You uncultured swine.
I know. And we had a good talk
I'm more
about
cultured because I don't know emo.
No, man.
Disagree
emo is a highlight of the American culture. It was a phase, man.
Yeah,
and it was a big one.
It was like that post college. I know you were like having babies and stuff, but when we were post college, those first few years, man, emo was hitting hard, and I was in it. Anywho, we're gonna talk a little bit about Fountain City Pro a little bit later on. There was other wrestling happenings this weekend that we want to get to. So, hey boys, stop me if you've heard this before, but the Killer Pay-Per-View company had another Killer Pay-Per-View this weekend.
They certainly did. Knocking it out of the park every time.
Did they?
Every time.
Did they?
Absolutely.
Did they?
They 100% fucking did.
Okay, I was like, do you have some takes you go in there? What?
I mean, I'm known for having some crazy hot takes, but this is a hot take I'm not willing to be.
That's even beyond your ability to just hate for no reason.
Yeah, I know.
We could talk about Dynamite here in just a minute, but we could definitely talk about how amazing Double or Nothing was. And if you thought Double or Nothing was not good, like, something's wrong with you. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, I got friends who are like hardcore WWE stands, right? You know, they're WWE fans. They're bigger WWE fans, right?
Squatch,
And they will.
Squatch, I'm not anti Jake something. It was just at the moment I was very anti Jake something. Just like emo, it was a phase. It was a phase.
Yeah. No. But pro Jake something. It's just literally, and I swear to God, we told the story before. We're not going to tell it again, but you had to be there. Like the amount of deflation there was in that building, let alone in Jamie, was palpable. And the fact that he kept doing it, and it was like a 60-minute match. That didn't help.
So long.
Oh, so long. So. But yeah, I got some hardcore WWE fans, right, that still will watch like the big major ones from AEW, including Double or Nothing, and even they're just like, whoa, that's ridiculous, right? So, buy-in, they had a couple things going on. There was a tag match there. We had the women's tag match, Penelope Ford and Megan Bain, Mega Bad, apparently they're calling themselves, versus TNA, NJ and Harley Cameron.
Yeah, tenacity and ambition.
Also tits and ass. Well, yeah. Tenacity and ambition. A lot of it was pace. I mean, I think the matches that were kind of like the more down matches, you had the FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Danny Garcia match, and then the stretcher match, although it was fun, those are they paced them in there, and they also put like in between Anarchy and the men's finals, they put the Don Callis family versus Paragon. I think they did a good job of pacing them out, Austin, to give you those breaks and stuff. And to be fair, I mean, like honestly, the Paragon Don Callis family, that would have been like a ridiculous main event on Dynamite if we had seen it on TV, right?
I had the exact same thought. Like that match, unfortunately, you're in between Anarchy in the Arena and the main event, which we'll get to in due time. So you're in a rough spot. But if that would have been the main event of a Dynamite, we would be talking about it for an entire week until the next Dynamite.
It was a really good match. It was a really good match. And the stretcher match, Jamie, which was technically not, is an ambulance match, but yeah.
An ambulance match. But yeah, semantics.
But I mean, I think they did a fantastic job of putting the breaks throughout in very good spots. You really were big on the opener, Jamie, on the women's Owen final, Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné.
Glorious. It was absolutely glorious.
So, side note, chat. I made the mistake last week after the show got off the air and we were sitting around just shooting the shit to let these guys know that inside of our Discord, which is where we do our calls at, that there is a soundboard, and yes, be forewarned. Okay,
we're gonna try not to abuse it, but no promises will be made.
I felt like that was a perfect spot for that because that match was glorious. Like,
no, you nailed it. You nailed it. I know that. I mean, I liked it, but not as much as you did.
I thought it was one of Mercedes' best matches, and honestly, she's starting to get to where she doesn't have a bad match. Her worst match was with a terrible wrestler, so we're just not gonna go there. But Jamie looked great. This was a good back and forth. I honestly thought there was a time where Jamie might have pulled it out, and then of course it ended up going the way we expected it to. But the way I love the finish. The finish is what I loved about it because it was a quick roll up. I got you. I'm out. Not I hit all my finishers and like all this stuff. Like it was not that type of thing. And I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Do you feel that's more like Mercedes like living up to like the Eddie Guerrero hype because that's her favorite, her inspiration and stuff than anything else, Austin? Or is that just good writing?
I would never compare Mercedes Moné to Eddie Guerrero.
I know.
That's a bit too far.
Okay.
To me, this was the third best match with women in it on the show, and it wasn't bad. It was still a good match. I think the problem is the same problem we see a lot of the times with Mercedes matches. They fail to kind of reach that extra gear. And there's a lot of complicated shit that just takes too long to set up, that just takes a little bit of momentum out of it. I don't think there was anything that was botched, and it was still a very good match. But I don't think Mercedes has chemistry with most of the roster. And at a certain point, you start to wonder if it's her. She's had good matches for sure. But yeah, this one, it was a very good match. I think what kept it from being a great match was just taking too long to set up a lot of things they tried to do. Like when they were hanging Jamie Hayter by her feet off the apron to do the Meteora down. The spot itself was cool. It took them like 10 minutes to set it up. It was an eternity. And
It was
that
like
kind of
watching a
stuff,
commander match.
that stuff takes me out. So Lucha's different. That's Lucha.
That's Lucha.
That's Lucha. They're allowed. That's what they do.
They're allowed.
They're allowed.
You're supposed
They're allowed
to
to do it. Yeah.
That's what they want to see. I don't know. I somewhat agree somewhere between you two, right? You know, I didn't feel like this was like the greatest match that either one of them had, right? I do agree with Jamie, though. I think Mercedes is definitely, she's gotten to a very good rhythm lately of being the Mercedes that we knew back when she was Sasha, you know, always showing up, fantastic matches, all the thing, right? I also don't think that she has to. I know you, Austin, you have problems with her wrestling like a face when she's a heel. I get it, right? You know, I understand that, but that doesn't bother me personally. I feel like the my crutch that I hate that they're putting her on is the undefeated streak, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. I can't stand it. And I thought this would have been the perfect time to have her lose because it's not for a title. And because you could set up a second thing at All In, right? We all talked about the Athena angle, and that didn't come to fruition. And Mercedes did win. Austin and myself both picked Jamie to win because we were going on what should have happened, right? I'm assuming that's where
We're picking with our heart, not our head.
That's true. That's true. Of course, that cost me.
Here's a fun question for both
more
of
than
y'all.
you can imagine.
There's one exception, and she now works elsewhere. But outside of Stephanie Vaquer, has anyone else come out of a program or a match with Mercedes looking better for it?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Like, I feel like every Mercedes match is a Mercedes match, and there's just another body in there. And that's not how I see Jamie Hayter, because Jamie Hayter's talented as hell. I feel like this did a disservice to Jamie because it didn't make her look any better. If anything, it made her look a little bit worse. Because we've talked about how since she came back, they haven't done a ton with her. She hasn't looked anywhere near where she was before she left. And that got me thinking of that question. Has anyone come out of a program or a match with Mercedes elevated from it? Even if they didn't win. Because you don't have to go over to get over to be bigger star. But I don't think anyone comes out of work with Mercedes looking better for it.
I think Chris Statlander did.
I think Statlander is, I don't know. Like Statlander's kind of inconsistent no matter what she does.
Yeah, but elevator in the eyes of fans.
Yeah, I think Harley's...
Is Statlander elevated? She was just watching a monitor on Dynamite tonight. Like,
I know, they cooled her
really
off.
done?
I'm saying that they cooled her off and she was
there.
hot right after.
I don't know. Well, Statlander, I mean, the point is that Statlander's feud with Mercedes meant nothing because it just went nowhere. I think it's just Harley. I think it's only Harley. It's only one. And that's more because of Harley.
Harley's going to get herself over no matter what because she's just an entertainer. Something to keep an eye on is all I'm saying.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
She's going to have a hard time shaking the Hogan allegations is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like, hey, I'll win this one. That doesn't work for me, brother. 100%.
Well, we shall see. So Mercedes did win. She is going to All In Texas to fight the women's champion. Who's it going to be? So we had Toni Storm going up against Mina Shirakawa, and we've seen this match before. Yes, on a big stage. Yes, I know, right? And we all knew that Toni was winning. And that, to me, is the problem with this match. Not Mina. because I like Mina. It's just
It's still great.
they're just and if they're and our bonus question was, how's Thekla going to make her entrance at Double or Nothing? Put a pin in that. But we all said it's going to be during or right after this match, the world title, right? Every one of us, including young Matthew, our defending champion, and we were all wrong because it's pretty much just a straight wrestling match with Toni winning.
But the match was outstanding. I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
It was a good match.
I would agree.
Even with the handicap of knowing there's no way in hell Mina's going to win, yeah, the match itself was absolute flames.
And I think that was my only crutch. The fact that, as juxtapose that with Anarchy in the Arena, which is a toss-up, and the main event, which God only knew, right? Because there's, this one here, because I knew that there's no chance in hell Mina was winning, it kind of diminished some of the luster for me. And we see it before.
Sorry. Yeah, but you got to see Toni dress up as a 1860s, 1870s stagecoach, showgirl type thing. It was absolutely great.
Luther with boots. Did you guys watch the post media scrum?
Yes.
Always.
Oh, Luther almost like just wiping out the whole stage with her. It was fucking hilarious.
So good.
Kudos to Luther.
And you guys said you were getting over her. I'm like, I don't think I could. I don't think I could ever get over this shtick of hers.
Yeah.
She changes it and tweaks it just enough every time.
I never said I was getting over her. I just said, what do you do now? It's just more of the same, and it's still very good and very entertaining. But there's not perfect, and we'll get to it in Dynamite, but we're setting up, obviously, Toni Storm and Mercedes for All In. Is anyone really begging for that match?
Tony.
Like, who
Tony Khan.
better out of that?
Tony Khan.
I mean, I'm begging for Toni Storm to win, so we don't have to talk about, anything dumb. I mean, we already got to talk about Hook here in just a second, so there's that. But
so before we get to Hook, there was a Hurt Syndicate match. Okay, Hurt Syndicate won. I will say this: I do got some thoughts on them. I'm saving for Dynamite about the MJF angle, but MJF made his full debut with Hurt Syndicate. So that was a thing. We talked about Don Callis family and Paragon, a fantastic match if it had been on.
Okay.
It was a good match no matter what, but if it had been on Dynamite, we'd still be talking about it. Then you had your Anarchy in the Arena with the annual tradition of, I mean, because it has become an annual tradition to. I don't know why. I don't know how they got around doing this, but my brain just stopped here because I want to say Low Jack, and I know that's not right.
New Jack.
They went New Jack.
New
Yeah,
Jack.
sorry, but
Yeah.
New Jacking Anarchy in Arena for the start. Okay, first of all, you have the Bucks coming out to be in red, a like Civil War-esque entrance, and they're coming out in their founding fathers with the and the old flags and. Everything was great. They get started, so they were the last ones to come out. The match gets going, so they're New Jacking with their kind of like drumming music, right? They're like, founding fathers, old timey drum music, whatever to start with. Then I apologize, the video just froze there. I don't know why, guys. Then. Are you still there? Yeah, let me fix it. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, we're back. We're unfrozen. I don't know what happened there. It just all of a sudden froze on us. But anyway, so they're New Jacking with the drummer boy entrance, right? And then we gotta switch it up. So then they go to the Pointer Sisters. and first of all, what do you guys think of the NCAA view, the 4K? I loved it. I loved that. Oh. The best touch is when Kenny grabbed the mic and said, "No, let's go some early 2000s alternative," and they put on their Drowning Pool bodies. And you watch some videos of the crowd singing along with it, because the broadcast didn't do it justice. And I was singing along with it, but Anarchy Arena was just the most clusterfuck shit show gloriousness that it always is. I loved every second of it. What did you boys think?
Even though it's like a violent brawl, it's also a little unserious at the same time. It is the best of pro wrestling in a 30 to 40-minute match every year. And I don't even want to say an issue, because I thoroughly enjoyed the match top to bottom. The only thing that I couldn't ignore from it, though, is why was Samoa Joe even there? Did he do anything?
He didn't take a single bump.
He didn't get an entrance. He just kind of brawled around with Claudio for a while. He locked in a choke at the end, and it was just real jarring to me that Samoa Joe was not existing that entire match, because Samoa Joe fucking rules, and I would love to see him kicking more ass. But minor complaints, because the match itself was fantastic. Swerve doing the stomp, coming back out in the forklift, doing the stomp was awesome. The rope bounce power bomb, the Bucks did to Kenny Omega through the table. Omega, Swerve, and Shibata doing the rope 10 count or the 10 punch to the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah,
it was so good. And Willow.
Willow and Marina. Oh,
Willow doing the spine buster and taking down the overalls to be also wearing a big black and jacked tank top like Hobbs. It was so good.
Jamie, I so want to get that shirt. I know it's wrong, but I so want to get that shirt.
I know. So this match had everything. I mean, the staple spot was absolutely great. The stapler spot, the whole thing was so great. And then the staple in the tongue was sick. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring up two things that just irritated me about this match.
Okay.
One, no Eddie Kingston. He would have been perfect for this.
That was a possibility.
And then two, we signed off the show last week with just some simple words of, please don't send Hook. And what happens? They fucking send Hook.
Now, luckily, he dipped in and dipped out.
But it was still enough. It was still enough.
It was still enough to sour it.
That was a bit of a head scratcher, because he didn't just show up to help even the odds. He evened the odds, and then when Joe acknowledged him, he just kind of turned his back. We don't need Hook's story development in this awesome ass brawl with bodies playing for 10 straight minutes.
Yeah,
save that for Collision sometime. We did not need Hook there, but it was even that could not take away from the just chaotic masterpiece this match was. It was exactly what you would want. It was just fun from start to finish.
Just fun, lots of blood.
Reboot Dark, and then that's where you put Hook.
And that's where you put Hook. Okay. Well, the main event was Ospreay versus Hanger, of course, for the men's Owen Hart final. Now, everybody except for Austin here chose Ospreay to win. I don't know about you, Jamie. I struggled picking this. I was I was flipping around in this pick for a while because I knew it was going to be something special.
So fun fact about this match, before I'm going to cut you off just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan didn't even know. There's multiple reports going that they were going back and forth up until right before the show. And Hanger is trying to put over having Ospreay win. Ospreay's trying to put over Hanger. And then Moxley's like, hey, why don't we do Hanger too? And it's they end up, we got the result that we got, but Jesus Christ.
I mean, when you have basic two fantastic ways you can go about it, you can't lose. So I get it. It's a tough choice.
I mean,
it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
it did.
So for this one, there was not a wrong choice, but they made the right choice. Like in hindsight, after the match, Hanger was the way to go. We talked about this last week. Who do we want to win? Not who do we think is going to win, but who do we want to win? Me and JJ both said Hanger. I like that Ospreay doesn't just beat everyone because he's probably the best in-ring wrestler in the world right now. It makes it more interesting because you don't always know for sure he's going to win. And the whole reason I end up settling on picking Hangman is I thought about last year when we were so sure that Ospreay was going to beat Swerve and go to All In and all that. And then the stories came out that Ospreay wanted to put Swerve over. And I think it's better for the company. I think Hanger being the one to dethrone Mox at All In tells a little bit better story. And Ospreay loses nothing because you're always going to tune in to see Will Ospreay wrestle because he's so damn good at this shit that, like, let him take another year to finally. He'll get there. He'll be the champion eventually.
Well, I mean, in essence, they're doing to Ospreay similarly what they did to Hanger at the beginning of AEW, Jamie, right? You're delaying that gratification to make a bigger story down the road for him because there's other people that could fit in the slot right now. We're going to transition in about 2 minutes ad nauseum about that here for Dynamite. But, you know, I think that's the way I kind of walked away from this is what my thought was.
Ospreay is not the hero we need right now. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And to give flowers to a fellow member of the FWO, Adam Hangman Page is by far and away the most complex character in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
He said the best. JJ and I, we both did the complex. You know, like he's got layers. He's like an ogre. You know, he's got layers. Yeah. But yeah, the redemption arc is absolutely great. Like Squatch just hit it just right nail on the head. Like this happened perfectly. The way it ended, the fact that they used some of their biggest feuds, finishers, which, as you know, with me, move stealing is a premium for Jamie. And Jesus, like, so fucking good. It's ridiculous how great. I will say without a shadow of a doubt, we've seen some amazing Will Ospreay matches. And gentlemen, I want to get your opinion on this. I think this is his best match in AEW, period.
Well, Austin, in our group chat, Austin put out the words there that this might have been the best match, one of the best matches he's ever seen.
Yeah, and I was in the building for Taker Shawn 1 at WrestleMania 25. Hanger and Ospreay might be the best pro wrestling match I've ever seen.
I mean, I don't disagree with that statement. We've seen some fantastic ones. We've seen some really good ones live, Jamie, you and I, right? You know, but
yeah, we have.
I mean, this was 37 minutes of just, which is, we all were like going in saying it's got to be at least 30, right? At least 30, you know, and they gave it the time it needed, it deserved. I think they put out, I think that for all the stories they told, yeah, this is one of the best matches I've ever seen. And
you know what made this match even better? And we might as well throw a little impromptu dash of knowledge out here.
Ooh!
I didn't come in prepared for one, but now that we're here, we're gonna throw one out.
Let's go.
This is the thing that pro wrestling needs, and your main event needs: stakes. There was a lot on the line here. It's not just a chance to go wrestle for the AEW title. It's not just the Owen. It's to go on and dethrone Mox, because we know that's coming at All In. It felt like such a big deal, and babyface a lot of time is hard, but there was so much on the line. You saw two guys out there fighting to save this company in a storyline sense. I think that's why I would put this over Taker and Shawn at WrestleMania 25, because while that match was huge, ultimately there was nothing on the line. Now, next year you've got the retirement story and all that. But this one, it felt like the company was going to pick a direction to go on who's going to be the guy going forward. And you get that so frequently in pro wrestling that made this all the much better. And like I said, when they first came out with the Continental Classic, and we were talking about a year and a half ago, stakes, man, put something on the line. Make it look like they're fighting for something, and it makes things so much better. So there's my little mini impromptu stash of knowledge.
Hey.
Give us more of that. Make things matter. And this, it felt like this was the most important match in the world to both of them in the moments while they were out there wrestling. And it was just absolute chef's kiss of a performance. I'm gonna go ahead and officially say this was my favorite pro wrestling match of all time.
Oh,
Glorious. Let me just add this little anecdote here. People have been hypercritical of Tony Khan and AEW for their storytelling. I think literally since January 1st, 2025, they haven't missed. Their storytelling has been on point all year. They've been creating character depth. They've been elevating new stars. They've been just making people matter. And this could be, gentlemen, and I want your opinion on this, this could be the most pivotal year in AEW's existence from the standpoint of not only are they listening to fans, but they're also giving the fans what they want, even though they don't know they want it sometimes. Like, it is just so well done right now. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a big year for them? And how do you feel about their storytelling?
I feel like, yes, this is a big year for them. I feel like you beat over your head the 6-year anniversary thing. And it goes without saying, you know, and fair reminder for you, Dynamite's been on TV longer than Monday Nitro was. Now, WCW was around longer than that, but they're still that, right? And I think that is always the crux, right? You had TNA made that little baby push, right? But they were never going to challenge WWE. It's a totally different animal, right? You've had other ones that kind of been, you know, hanging around, but never of that. And AEW began with that thought. We're going to be the alternate, right? And I think they made that pivot. And then this year is them really establishing their own lane, right? They're like, we don't need to be the NBA, you know, we are the MLS or whatever the fuck, you know, it's like we are same but different, and that's fine. And we can still be a big thing. And you look at who they have in there. Yes, there's some people who made their headlines in WWE, but you've got Will Ospreay. You've got Swerve, somebody who, you know, was in there, but by all accounts was not managed well in WWE. You have Hangman, you know. You have people like Toni Storm, who has this new life, but you also have women from Japan coming over. You have a lot of people with, you know, the future being its own entity and its own thing. And this AEW pride is a theme that we've seen a lot lately within this, not just because of the whole Death Rider angle, but in general, you know, with kind of the way they've restructured the production and all that stuff. So I feel like that has led it to be that pivotal year where we're making our own identity, kind of like GCW did when they wanted to establish themselves as the king of the indies, right? And they're making their own identity as that major promotion that is different and doesn't have to be a direct competitor to Raw, because no one's ever gonna challenge it. Let's be honest. Okay, it's a different animal.
Yeah. As far as being a pivotal year, I don't know if I would go that far, only in the sense that AEW is going to keep rolling no matter what. They're always going to kill it on pay-per-views. If you want great wrestling, you're going to get it no matter what. That being said, they have absolutely hit their stride when it comes to storytelling. So much so that this match and now the build towards Hanger and Mox at All In makes you forget about the 3-month stretch where the Death Rider storyline was just absolutely terrible. This redeemed it because now you're finding your way back at the end. We go from January 1st, 2025. We still had about 2 straight, but like the whole Mox Cope feud was going on there, and that was a dud. But even then, we were talking about how the rest of the show was so good. Make that better. But then you got the Mox Joe stuff was great, and now we're building towards Mox Hanger. They've circled it back around. Just killing it on the storytelling. And they've had good stories for years. They just haven't always been dead set on putting good stories with the good wrestling, and now you're getting all of it. Ricochet is doing the best work of his career.
Oh God.
By far.
So good.
By far.
Hanger since day one. Like we said, you say the most complex. I used to say the best character in pro wrestling. From a story character point, you might like Tony's gimmick better because it's made to be more entertaining. But Hanger is a character we've seen grow. We've seen react to things. The past always matters. Ospreay. I thought even that main event, we got little pieces of Ospreay where you almost thought you were going to get a little bit of heel Ospreay back again because he was so dead set on winning. There were moments where he wasn't that golden retriever in human form, just dumb, adorable puppy dog, baby face that he normally is. The rise of Kyle Fletcher has been the entire Don Callis family. There's just so much good going on that they have absolutely hit their stride. And to your point, they found that identity as a company. Like, you know what you're getting from AEW now, and it's not just great wrestling, but great wrestling that matters because there's shit on the line. There's important things happening, and it's just a great time to be watching pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll put some pins in there. I'm going to pull out in a little bit.
Yeah.
And Squatch, I want to put a pin with your comment too because I feel like I want to address that when we get to Dynamite.
I have a great answer for it, so yeah.
Oh, go for it. You want to do it now?
Yeah, let's go to the course right now.
So Tony versus Monet, why? Pretty simple. At least in the eyes of me, who is semi of a businessman. What sells more pay-per-views?
Big names.
The marquee of Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm? When you pretty much know that Tony Storm's probably going to win that? Or you put Mercedes Moné, arguably the biggest name in women's wrestling that is not Tony Storm or not Rhea Ripley, and you have her name up there against Tony Storm. People are going to want to buy just for that match alone, some people. Now, obviously, the rest of the card is going to be absolutely just magnanimously amazing. But that sells. That's why they did that. That's a business decision right there.
Yeah, that's booking for your casual fan. And I don't mean your casual fan in any kind of degrading way or like those aren't real wrestling fans. But when you're selling pay-per-views and you're getting TV ratings, that's kind of what you do sometimes. I don't care for Mercedes Moné that much. Like the character does nothing for me. The matches are typically not bad. Even though I said earlier, I don't think she has chemistry with almost anybody, and no one comes out looking better. She's still over. The arenas are still chanting CEO.
Yeah, she's still Mercedes. She's still who she is.
So we've been talking for weeks of we don't want to see Tony and Mercedes all in. Not that we won't watch that, because we're all going to tune in, and the match will still be solid. Tony Storm's in it. Mercedes is still very good in the ring. Like it'll be worth tuning in for. I think we were more against it. I think a lot of people that are more of what you'd call hardcore wrestling fans, not that the amount of wrestling you watch defines any. Like enjoy what you enjoy, watch as much as you want. Not that one's better than the other, but it just seemed like such the obvious thing. We all wanted to pivot. We wanted more, and also we don't want both women's titles in the same match. That being said, what I would love to see is Mercedes, because she claims to be a heel in some regards. I would like to see her come out and say she's so confident she's going to beat Tony Storm at All In, she's relinquishing the TBS title. Like, move that belt on to someone else. But still, at the end of the day, like Jamie said, that's the money match. That's like the biggest match the women's division you can make, even if a lot of your fans would rather see other things.
I mean, it's not just about us. Let's be frank. It's not just about us on the internet who are, marks to watch wrestling every week. It's about buys. That's how you get buys. And Gabe Kidd plot, I don't know. I got a couple thoughts about Gabe Kidd. We'll talk about that when we get into Dynamite here in just a few minutes of Undercast, because I do have some thoughts on that. And I want to wrap this up so we can wrap up here, because I know Jamie's been anxiously waiting for me to talk about our little title competition that we have here on the show. And as you might have caught, I mentioned so a very similar cards once again, as we always do. It always comes down to like 1 or 2 matches. But just the way it always is. Because as big of a gap as Jamie wants to make it out to be, it's really just a little gap. It just happens to always fall on, his plate. So get in where you fit in. But no, I was eliminated early because of my going with the heart instead of the head there with Jamie Hayter. But came down to the end and didn't even need a tiebreaker this time here, ladies and gentlemen. Going into the main event, it was already decided. The champion, once again, is the man over to my right. Left, if you're watching me on the internets, Jamie Faulkner. Regains.
I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
I need to remove that soundbite so bad.
Nope. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. After a 2 pay-per-view hiatus, I am back with my belt.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Everybody cares.
Right back at you.
Everybody
right back at you.
Cares. Let's see.
Boo
This
so, man!
You can boo me all you want, baby, but I'm the champ. Not only am I the official FWO champ, but now I am once again the pay-per-view champ. The most decorated. I am the Ric Flair, the John Cena of pay-per-view pick'ems. That's all there is to it. I piss excellence.
It almost was. Squatch.
That's a good soundbite. Who better?
That was a good one. All right. So, Double or Nothing over. Boys, it's time to look forward.
Really quick before we move on from Double or Nothing.
Okay.
Because we didn't actually mention this, and I got to throw out some flowers.
Oh, okay.
I have been on record on the show as saying I'm not a Speedball Mike Bailey guy. He's great.
Yeah.
Just does nothing for me. But holy shit, that Mike Bailey Okada match was absolutely outstanding.
I mean, Jamie changed his pants twice during the match.
This match, the Ultimate Weapon into the Rainmaker was such a great finish. That was so good.
We get lulled into forgetting about how goddamn good Okada really is, right? Because there's also other story stuff going on. It's like, oh yeah, Kazuchika Okada's here too, boys.
Yeah, so I've been on the record to a little bit be critical of when Kazuchika Okada in AEW. Felt like he's kind of mailed it in just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get this. And then you are reminded why he is the Rainmaker, why he is arguably the greatest Japanese wrestler of all time. And then you throw in Speedball Mike Bailey, who on center stage in front of everybody in the world showed just how fucking good he is. Like, yes, push that man to the moon, give him a TNT title run, give him an Intercontinental run. I don't care. Give him something.
Should have given him the
That man deserves to be a champion.
Should have done.
I mean, we all know what's happening. It's inevitable.
Well,
yeah,
we do.
I got a man backward squatch in the chat that Okada should have dropped the belt to Bailey. Not yet, because we're trucking towards All In, and everything says we're getting Okada Omega to unify those titles at All In.
Put them together.
You can't do anything better with either of them than that for All In. You just can't.
Oh no, not Omega belts. Stop it.
The Omega belt.
All right, let's get to Dynamite because everybody's wanting to talk about Dynamite. So let's talk about Dynamite. All right.
Hold on,
All
we're
right.
gonna get to that much.
All right, Fletch. I love your thoughts. All right, Dynamite. So, boys, Dynamite starts with might be I know, right? What might be everything you guys were talking about. I was putting pins up because I want to pull them all out right now. So you have Hanger starting the show coming out, right? And he starts talking about how he gives the flowers to Ospreay, right? So he does all that. Fantastic. He then hands the Owen belt to Tony Schiavone because that's not his focus. His focus on the world title. Enter Swerve Strickland. And business just picked up, boys, because as we have, if anybody here has not been watching us for the long haul, first of all, hi, there's a subscribe button down below. We have long talked about this, boys, that this is their, Rock Stone Cold, their, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, their, this is their long-term, this is the AEW long-term feud that everybody knows, wants, and loves. And boy, do they keep it going. So, Swerve's pointing at the video of the Young Bucks. Did you do this? Talking about sending the Young Bucks to get him. He said, if I was going to do that, I would do it my own damn self or right to your face, right? Basically, So that is glorious. Then you get Ospreay coming out here. Here is kind of the point I want to make. You guys can dissect this as you want here. But as this was all going on, I'm seeing, first of all, the future of the company is in the ring. These three men, okay? I know Okada. I know we got Omega. I know we got these guys, right? They've also been around a little bit longer than these three. This is the future of the company. These three men, flat out, putting it out there. Fight me. And you cannot go wrong in any direction you're going to go with this here. Still with the heat that Swerve is never going to be on board with Hangman. Hangman tells him anybody but this guy, and he's not on board. Ospreay is trying to be super babyface. I was eating every last raw second of this deliciousness. What do you guys think? Oh.
So I got to address our friend Fletch in chat saying, TK, I swear if you have Hangman not dethroning Mox due to Swerve distraction, I'm going to be pissed. Don't you fret, my friend. That is not what's happening. We were just talking about storytelling. This is earning the story for when Swerve comes out to fight off the Death Riders and Mox ends up winning it all in. And I appreciate so much that they're not going to go straight to, oh, Hanger, you clearly turned face again. Swerve's a face too. Now everything's cool. No, they're going to earn it every step of the way. We know it's coming. We know Swerve's going to get involved, and that's going to help Hanger win that title match. And I love that they're going to show their work getting there and not just pivot, oh, we have a common enemy now, so I guess we're all cool. Like, this seemed like the first step in a great story over the next 6 weeks until we get to All In.
I couldn't agree more. And typically I'm always one with a little hot take or whatever, but the redemption arc is not only for Hangman, ladies and gentlemen. And I want us to remember that. Swerve did some shit too.
Swerve went into buddy, what's his face's garage up in Seattle,
Yeah.
Nick Wayne, when he left
Nick Wayne went to, I was gonna say Buddy Wayne, yeah. It just demolished him in front of his mother and left with his bloody wife beater. Let's not forget that, y'all.
So,
Sorry, Jamie.
So Fletch is actually making a good point, and I love my little section of Fantasy Booking Island, and there is going to be AEW Avengers essentially to take down the Death Riders, and the key component to it, by far and away, is going to be Swerve Iron Man Strickland. Like, he's the key. Like if you are a fan of Marvel, and he's the guy, right? He's the one that is going to help make this happen. And if it is Eddie, if it is Bryan Danielson, yes, please. But damn, man, the storytelling of this is one for the ages. I think personally, gentlemen, it's better than the Hanger Kenny Omega storyline.
I'll give you that, because the Hanger Kenny Omega storyline was very singularly focused, right? It was very linear, you know, and it even though you had the whole Dark Order bit in it, which they had to switch and change, you know, after Brody's death, it still was very singular. But this is, to your point, layered, right? You know, you've got the Captain AEW with Ospreay trying to bring everybody together. I like the idea that Fletch puts out there about Yuta, right? You know, Yuta's always been kind of like the whipping boy, the young boy, you know. What if he comes and gets involved? There's others. There's so many components here. There's Eddie Kingston. You don't know what's going on with that, right? Joe's still in the mix, right? Christian Edge, right? You know, you got all this stuff happening, right? But at the heart of it is still the long-term storyline of Swerve and Hangman. They will always be tied together. They will never forgive each other, even if they begrudgingly help. And I just cackle with like down in my giblets, you know. Just, oh man, it just gets me all over.
I agree with that.
So, and another fun wrinkle to all this, and I'm looking forward to the build to All In. A bit of a slow Dynamite, and we'll get to the rest of it. But this segment alone sets up so much stuff. Where do the Bucks fit in all this? Like, that's a fun part of this too, because they're going to be involved some way.
Well,
So
there's two guys that were a part of that segment that don't have a match.
They get Swerve and Ospreay versus the Bucks at All In would be great.
Yeah.
Like there's so many options.
My pants.
I knew in Fletch in chat saying, could Gabe Kidd turn on Mox, building to War Dogs versus Death Riders at Forbidden Door?
Gabe's your mega villain for the long haul, because he's gonna eventually be all AEW, and he's your mega villain for the next 20 years. Mark,
I think we're marching towards Hanger and Gabe Kidd at Forbidden Door, and sign me up for that shit.
And then, like I said, Gabe is young, and he's, like I said, when he's ready to, you know, be fully committed, he is going to be your mega villain, because he is that good. Oh, yes. Oh, that's my thought.
He proved it at Dynasty.
Yeah.
Or Wrestling Dynasty, sorry.
Yeah, bring him and the rest of the War Dogs over, absolutely. But, yes. All right, so this was glorious. Lots of stuff going on here. We got plenty of time. We got 45 days till All In. So you did have a match right after this, including Gabe Kidd. So you had Mox, Gabe Kidd, and Marina Shafir versus Willow Nightingale, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. Basically, it's like, hey, we're going to throw out the Death Riders, and who was some MVPs from the pay-per-view? You guys are going against them.
and healthy.
Yeah, who can still walk? And Mark Briscoe. Briscoe with the Sabu tributes was fantastic, but we got more Marina and Willow, which I am so glad, because I've always wanted Marina to be good, right? Because I know, like, her judo background, all that stuff. I've always thought that she, you know, I've always wanted her, you know, and she's done, like, you know, like the blood, like Josh, you know, Barnes Bloodsport and all this other stuff, but she can never, like, get a wrestling character over. So I'm happy, even though it's in this, like, small vacuum, Austin, of her and Willow and this, like, death matches, I'm still so happy to get a little bit of that, right?
They are doing an excellent job of protecting Marina, because by all accounts, and my wife knows Marina, has met her through wrestling and all that. Marina is an absolute sweetheart of a person, and she's a very good character for what they're doing, but she is never going to be a good professional wrestler. Just isn't. But they're doing such a good job of sticking her out there in spots where she can shine and not overexposing her, where you remember that she's not a very good professional wrestler. And they're getting so much mileage out of somebody that was kind of an afterthought until this Death Riders thing started. So just props to them on that, for just keeping Marina looking good despite her limitations. And Willow's just a star.
Yes. I'm saying
Willow's
yes to
a star.
Oh, Willow.
Oh, yeah.
This is This is all to propel Willow, Jamie. Really,
I'm calling it now. Like Mark Stradamus stamp here, guys. Once the TBS title is either vacated or the next person should be Willow Nightingale. Willow needs to be your TBS champion.
Willow needs to be the AEW Women's Champion.
Not yet.
No, I don't think she even needs a TBS title run. I think she needs the AEW Women's title.
Okay.
Willow is undeniable.
I'm with you there.
She is undeniable.
I mean, I think here's the great thing. You've got actually some legs about what you're doing with the women's programs here. So this was the first kind of women's feature in the night. It was in the middle of this 6-way, right? Quick Hurt Syndicate promo, which was, I thought, excellent use of MJF as a part of the Hurt Syndicate. We know he's going to turn on them one day. Okay, tell me a story I don't know the ending to, but at least they're selling it well of him fitting in. That video promo was really good. Okay.
I did have one problem with that promo. And it was MJF talking about he's going to get his Triple B, his big, beautiful belt back. Bro, you are nowhere near the world title picture. Like, we know the next defense is in 45 days. And it's two guys that aren't you. And there's fallout. Like, that part was just weird to me. It didn't seem believable that he's anywhere near getting that title again. The promo was good, but that I heard him talk about that was just like, bro, you're not there anymore. You're not that guy anymore.
I think that it's putting it out there that, hey, don't forget I should be in this picture too. So when they do move him in there, it's not out of nowhere.
But should he?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, MJF. Yes.
When you look at all the top guys AEW has, would you even put MJF in like the top 5 in line to hold that belt next as you're moving it around?
What heels are you putting up there besides Moxley? So you take the belt off Moxley, you've got arguably 3 big faces, right? 3 different types of faces, but I don't think you can fight me that Swerve, Ospreay, and Hanger are all face, right?
Yep.
What heels are you putting up against them? Believable in that title picture.
Kyle Fletcher for sure. I would put Kyle Fletcher above MJF any day of the week.
Kyle Fletcher's gonna get the TNT title here shortly.
I love your thought process. I think it's a little soon for Fletcher to jump up to that. I think that you put MJF in there. He's got history, Jamie, with Hanger, okay, and Swerve a little bit, but mostly Hanger. So I think he fits, and Ospreay as well too. So
Takeshita, I'm going to say no because I feel like Takeshita, by the way, first off, before we get any further with Takeshita, congratulations Takeshita and Yuka Sakazaki for announcing that they've been married and they have a cute puppy. So congratulations there. But Takeshita, I feel like a face turn is coming. I don't know what it is. I feel like he is going to part ways from the Don Callis family because Fletcher's the golden boy now and not him, and they're going to take a little thing. And we're going to end up having those two have a nice little fight at All In. Calling it now.
I don't want to see Takeshita turn face before one of the 3, and it's not going to be Hanger, Ospreay, and Swerve turns heel. Like, I don't want Takeshita to hit that log jam of, well, we've got 3 top baby faces above you. Takeshita's too damn good.
Yes.
I can see Omega turning heel before any of them.
Yeah, Omega turned heel, and that's what that goes back to MJF thing. Forbidden Door. Do you really want Hanger against any regular member of the AEW roster? Like for that pay-per-view, probably not. Gabe Kidd's a good choice. From there, Hanger Omega, Hanger Swerve again, Hanger Ospreay. Well, like there's so many matches.
And just because they're all 3, I'm calling them all 3 variations, they're all face, doesn't mean you can't put them all against each other. That's the good thing about this. There's ambiguity, especially with Hanger and Swerve, about, with their past, you're right. But at some point, you need to have a legit heel in the middle of this picture, and that is MJF. Flat
That's
out.
Gabe Kidd. in August at Forbidden Door. You got to heal
Well,
right off the
at
bat.
Forbidden Door, yes. I'm talking, but Gabe Kidd's also not, because Gabe Kidd is not done with New Japan, right? He's over here for a little bit, but after Forbidden Door, he's going to be back in Japan, okay? At least until his contract runs out and Tony can sign him full time. But who do you have as a heel for the long term then after that? MJF.
I mean, you got Ricochet too, and Ricochet cut that promo, which I think you're gonna get into.
Yeah, let's go there. Go there. We're here. Yeah, Ricochet wants his own
Ricochet
group.
had that promo, Nina Crew. Any ideas?
He wants belts. Well, they put it out there already earlier on in chat that, Max Caster.
Well,
right,
I don't care for either of these individuals. He did specifically say he needed a crew. There is a tag team called The Crew of Action Andretti and Leo Rush. And I think it would be one of the most entertaining things ever if Ricochet got his crew and it's like the two smallest guys on the roster. I do think that would be good TV. I think they would be great together.
Okay.
And I'd go the other direction and give him the Gates of Agony.
No. Can we be done with them? I like both those guys, but we've done this so many times and it never works.
He needs big muscle, though.
Now, if we were going to give Ricochet, Brian Keith, and Big Bill, now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Now we're on to something.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Well, there are definitely options there. You also had options in this next match that we had because this usually happens in wrestling promotions. They run one back from the pay-per-view, right? So they ran back one of the pre-show matches, just add weapons. So you had Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Team TNA with weapons, all the weapons. And I don't know what it is. Anna Jay always seems to find herself in like women's tag death matches or hardcore matches on AEW. But it was fun. It was good. It was cool. Harley Cameron broke her nose pretty damn bad.
Did she though?
Who knows? She might have just bladed. I don't know.
No, I'm thinking it's fake. She fell down. They brought over a towel instantly, and next thing you know, it's just here, and it stopped bleeding instantly. And somebody's had a few nosebleeds in my life, and they just keep going.
After she got pinned when she was laying on the ground breathing, you could see like some blood shooting up. I think she busted her nose open. I don't know if she broke it, but I think that was real.
After the match, they went to go, and like the doctor was on there to like put her back together, and she immediately was like, stop, when they put in. So who knows? Anyway, this was a good little fun. This is kind of your classic post pay-per-view, run it back, be violent, good for the live crowd. They broke tables, they did all the stuff. I enjoyed it. It was good. I do like the fact that we're getting multiple women's storylines though going on. Okay. Actually doing stuff, and this is a good thing. So Megan Bayne, they put too quickly up the ladder, right, to get that quick title shot. Bring it back here, put her in this other little thing. I dig that a lot more.
Maybe it's just me, but did Penelope Ford just miss the clothesline on the Doomsday device for the finish?
Yes,
100%. Dude, swing and a miss. It's like she's for the Royals, man.
How do you miss that?
I don't know.
Right over her head.
So you had Samoa Joe and the Ops trios match versus the Frat House, which
oh my God, who the hell cares?
Pretty much, a showcase of Powerhouse Hobbs just body slamming motherfuckers. So there's that. Then you get a Jamie Hayter promo. Very quickly interrupted by a blackout and a Thekla. Glorious! Finally. Now, I knew as soon as she didn't show up at the pay-per-view, they're going to do this. And I feel like it would have been better at the pay-per-view. I get it, though. I also don't mind them doing this as to kind of integrate her into the American audience a little bit instead of just rushing her right into something with Tony or whatever, But Thekla's here. She's all elite. I'm happy.
You finally got your wish.
I'm happy. I know. I'm so happy. Fletch is happy too.
Yes, everybody, let's rejoice. For one, JJ, he got his Thekla. He's only been pining over it for the past 18 months, ladies and gentlemen.
She's so good.
It's finally come true. Let's give him his flowers. All congratulate JJ. His wet dream is now a reality. She's an 80.
So settle down. So, and we're gonna get to see, so probably starting off with Thekla versus Jamie Hayter, which that's gonna be a great little. Let's go right there, right off the shoot, right?
Yeah,
more than likely, who knows? We don't know what Mariah's plans are. I think Mariah fits in well with anything they do with the Thekla storyline. It'll be interesting to see which way they go with this. I think those who know her history in New Japan know that she's got history with Mina. She's a top talent, and I'm just happy she's here. Okay. Now they didn't stick with that long because they did a quick little video promo for Mystico, just doing some CMLL stuff, kind of integrating. Gotta get those buys for. It's on TV. I mean, I was trying to say they have to sell tickets, but they're already sold out of. Grand Slam Mexico.
Yeah, Arena Mexico.
And it's on free TV, so never mind. Hey, but you should know who Mystico is if you don't. Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher. Oh, he's the best. He's so good. Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher, TNT title, boys.
This should have swapped spots with the trios match and gotten more time.
It got the.
Yeah. I was hyped about this when they announced it. And they did not. It did not get the time an Adam Cole Kyle Fletcher match should get. It seemed like an afterthought, and Kyle Fletcher getting a shot at the TNT title should be a bigger deal because you've been pushing the shit out of Kyle Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
This should have been the first match on the show and should have gotten at least like that 15 to 20 minute segment, that trios match. You could have shortened the trios match because it was, again, you're just pay-per-view all-stars. Let's throw them out there. Yeah, it was underwhelming, unfortunately.
Underwhelming. Adam Cole, to all of our chagrin here, he's back in good wrestling form, boys. I mean,
yeah.
And how about, you talk about Kyle Fletcher, Jamie? I mean, how about the ability to sell by Kyle J. Fletcher? My God.
So good.
Give this man his flowers. Seriously.
Speaking of that, this discourse about him wearing too much pink. Real men wear pink. Real men wear pink. Just be a man. It's okay. Like,
really quick. Best pink gear for a man of all time. Who you got?
I mean, it's hard for me to go against Bret Hart. When they got rid of like the black, he came out. We went solo. They had that one time he came out like it was like all pink, like a little bit of black. I'm going with that, mostly because it's Bret Hart. But yes,
Jamie, who you got?
I mean, you can't go against the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. The excellence of execution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to disagree with both of you.
You go Nephew.
I don't think any male wrestler has ever looked better in pink than Razor Ramon.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's a good one.
Touche.
I'll keep that up. I would give a man Razor Ramon some props there because, man, he made that pink gear look good.
So Fletch just said this thing up. It says Hanger from Double or Nothing. Fun fact, I don't know if you noticed in both of the matches, the women's and the men's, the wrestler who was wearing pink won. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, little Hart family foreshadowing, huh?
Yeah,
like we're all wearing pink like it's been for the Owen the last 2 years. I feel like everyone was wearing pink and black for the Owen the last 2 years.
Yeah, they have. Like Cole did. They all. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you immediately go into, because that false finish on this match, we know we're getting this for probably Double or Nothing. But who knows, right? There's also been like the little
sooner than you do something better with it.
I hope so too. I mean, well, you did have Josh Alexander come out, and then Kyle Fletcher later on, mad that he didn't need anybody to make the save for him. And they both said they want the TNT title. Don Callis has said whoever wins it first is whatever, right? So ambiguity abounds here throughout the family. And you go straight into Josh Alexander versus Brody King. Anytime I get Brody King on my TV is a good night, especially when it's against Josh Alexander. This one could have definitely got more TV time, not been stuck booking a commercial break. But, this was for Fyter Fest next week. So the International Championship is being put up by 3 qualifying matches to go with Kenny Omega. And this is the first one. Brody King wins. He's going to be the first competitor in the 4-way next week in Chicago. Whew.
I was surprised Brody King won this. And I love Brody King. I'm not sad about him winning. I felt like Josh Alexander needed a win here.
He's been a bit of a jobber since he's been there.
And he's only jobbing a top talent. So it's not like he's just putting over Hook or something.
Well, they're laying this dissension here, which makes me think that everything you talk about with the family, I mean, you talk about Takeshita, but they're definitely laying the seeds for dissension between Alexander and Fletcher. And maybe the plan is to get Alexander in and out of the family quickly, right? Fletcher wins the TNT title. Alexander wants it. He goes out of the TNT picture. Shit, put him in Paragon for all I care, right? Who cares where he goes, But have him versus Fletcher in a series of matches that'll make me very happy. Basically, I don't know.
I wouldn't mind seeing this lead to a triple threat with Josh Alexander, Kyle Fletcher, and Takeshita for a shot at the TNT title at All In.
Ooh.
That's a fun story. I'd be down for that.
I like that.
That's a lot of fun story.
I like that.
Jamie,
all right, speaking of fun stories, we had Mercedes-Toni come out to end the show to be met with one Miss Toni Storm.
Timeless.
So they bookended this much as in a reverse order. So they started the show with the men from the Owen, talking about the men title picture, ended it with the women, and the women's title picture, and there's all that. So Toni Storm comes out, when Mercedes talking about how she's so great and all this stuff here. And of course, Toni comes out about how it's time to ride the money train through the Toni tunnel. Just God bless you.
But hopefully you can go deep enough. Don't forget that line.
Of course. And there's almost superlatives. To your point, you don't. This is again. I hate to say this because it does seem like a broken record. This is again a match that doesn't really need any build up because, to Jamie's point, this is a marquee match. Boom. But you got some build up anyway. Boys, what'd you think?
I would like to see the build going forward have as little of the two of them in the ring with microphones as possible, because Toni Storm makes Mercedes look real bad on the mic. Toni Storm makes most people look really bad on the mic, but those allegations are out there from Mercedes that she's not much of a talker, and having to sit there and promo battle Toni Storm does not help at all.
No, does it, Jamie?
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, I fancy myself a creative talker, and I feel like I can hang with some people. Toni would eat me for lunch. Like she's ridiculous. Like one of her best ones. You are the greatest of all time, but I'm timeless. Like that right there. Just
she has an all-time one-liner every damn week.
Yes,
it's ridiculous. how
Mind
good
you,
she is at that.
This is the woman who did the joke poem. There once was a man from Nantucket during a pay-per-view post presser, and Tony Khan literally spit out his coffee.
Yeah.
While we're talking about them really quick, it did pop me Mercedes pulling up to the arena in the lowrider, holding the belt, sitting in the back with literally nobody around. Like, who was that for?
Okay, all right. Here, let's go back. Let's go back to regular here for a second. Okay, do you guys like the new black and white view?
Such good touch.
Thank you. All right,
Such good touch.
There was that. Where the hell was this venue? Because the backstage looked like a warehouse in like the sketchiest part of El Paso possible. Like the promos ever shot,
man.
I know.
Is there not a sketchy part of El Paso?
Well, El Paso's the nice part. Juarez is the shit part, you know. So yeah, across the river. But I don't know. It was just so weird, you know. Like when Ricochet was doing his promo, he's back there. I go, where the hell is he? He's like half parking lot, half construction site. What is this?
I like to think that the plan was for Mercedes to like drive into the arena for entrance with the belts on the back, and they realized there was no way to get the car in there. So like, well, let's just shoot it out back and we'll just play it on the show. It was just hilarious to me, her rolling up, sitting in the back, holding all her belts, and like there's not a soul in sight out there.
Right. And again, and you guys scoffed me for saying this, but I'm not comparing her. I'm not putting her on the level of Eddie. Eddie is in his own league, right, with very few high-profile names. But it is her inspiration for wrestling is Eddie Guerrero. So she's doing a lot of mimicry things in his hometown as well.
Could she do more and start cheating in matches because she's a heel? That'd be great.
That'd be good.
Take that from Eddie. Eddie was great at that. Just study a lot of that and do Eddie Guerrero cheating spots. That would turn around for me. She would be must-see TV for me if she started actually being a heel and stealing all of Eddie Guerrero's old clever cheating spots.
Has she done any dirty matches? Dirty finishers? I don't think she's done any.
One time. That's when she had Camille.
Yeah.
When she had her enforcer, her diesel. Who could struggle standing straight up.
Well, a little lie, a little cheating, a little stealing would be good for you. All right, so Dynamite. So we're about 45 days, about 6 weeks out, right? All in, they're building it up. It's gonna be big. So we know the 2 title pictures already. It's gonna be massive. So we'll have a lot more coming up on that in the near future. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Fed. So over on the other side of the fence, boys, I know, Austin, you've dabbled in the NXT waters a little bit. You were like, okay, it's just all right.
Not in some time.
Not a whole lot.
I think their CW debut was back in the fall. They did one bigger show in like January that I tuned in for. And there was a commercial every 90 seconds, and I just noped out and have never watched again.
Yeah. That unfortunately still goes on a lot. But this past week, because it has bigger implications, did you guys see what happened with the women's title on NXT? So
I did see that. Twitter keeps me informed.
Stephanie Vacour drops the title to JC Jane. Of course, Stephanie's going up to Raw or something, right? You know,
not even Fallon Henley, like JC Jane.
JC Jane. Well, JC Jane is technically the leader of that faction. I am a big JC Jane fan. I think she's very much a WWE wrestler, right? She's an entertainer more than a wrestler, but I think she's done fantastic work. But yeah, moving the belt and moving it in a very unique way, you know, to JC Jane. What do you guys think of that?
I don't have
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Jamie,
about that. Although I do gotta say, clearly this was just moving the title off Stephanie because she's going to the main roster. Apparently Jordan Grace is also going to the main roster. And while I tune into W from time to time. It's not just really what I enjoy in pro wrestling these days. Their women's division on both shows are stacked now. So
Well,
that's exciting.
Ridiculous.
You got Roxanne's up there, Julia's and Money in the Bank. Okay, Roxanne's got her whole. Do what?
Irie Sane is back.
Kairi Sane is back, right, and looking fantastic, right?
Asuka's imminent.
You've still got, I mean, EO's the world is EO's oyster right now, right? How she turned this into like the biggest meme ever is fantastic. Okay, I love EO, and that's even better. Plus, you got Bianca. You still have Mommy up there. They're doing this whole angle with Roxanne and Liv Morgan and Judgment Day. It's good. And, and you add Stephanie Vacour to that. And then you've got Jordan Grace, who I thought always should have gone straight to the main roster personally, right? Bro.
You're missing one. You're missing the second best character in pro wrestling behind Adam Hangman Page. One Miss Chelsea Green.
Touche.
I love Chelsea Green.
So good.
And we never gave Zelina Vega her flowers. She's, who dethroned Chelsea, and she's been doing stellar work, as the U.S. champion.
Other than the
over the
Block
weekend.
619 that broke Chelsea's nose, but whatever.
I mean, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you break a nose, hey, shit happens. Chelsea
It's
has had her
worse.
nose broken in every major company she's worked for.
I wonder if that's a record. I wonder if anyone's ever done that in the history of pro wrestling.
I'm just saying, sometimes it's the denominator.
Here's a fun question for y'all, and there's really not a wrong answer. Who would you say is better, Io or Asuka?
Oh, you can't do that to me.
Like I said, there's no wrong answer.
He's also not giving any time constraints, so it's like it's not of all time currently. It's just who's better, Io. That's like, bro.
That's a hard one.
Asuka's
I'ma
body
say-
of work is better.
I'm gonna say
but I
Io.
love the way Io
Io's
wrestles.
and Io's more athletic than Asuka. Asuka's more technical than Io.
Okay, I would go Asuka only because I prefer strikers over high flyers. But like I said, there's no wrong answer.
That's why I'm going Io, because I prefer high flyers over strikers.
That's fair.
I love the way Io wrestles, but there's just something about Asuka. She has way more personality than Io, and Io has a good personality. Like, I think Asuka's more well-rounded.
Oh, and young Asuka, like Japanese death match Asuka.
Anna, yeah.
Like, remember that? Like the match against Minoru Suzuki was borderline uncomfortable to watch almost. Asuka. That's a fantastic question. All right, so
Don't forget, Ricky Saints already dropped his belt
it was what, 3 weeks and
to Ethan Page.
Just what are they doing, man?
I don't know. AEW didn't know how to use him either, so whatever.
I hate to even ask this question, but I've already started, so now I have to. And you know the man, he's a good guy, but is the problem maybe Ricky?
No, I don't think the problem's Ricky. I think it's a WWE problem. Because I think in AEW it was very much he was a Cody guy. Cody left. They knew he was heading to WWE, and he should be excelling in WWE. Like, he should be doing what LA Knight's doing because he's like 15 years younger than LA Knight.
Yeah.
He has a role, and he's got the charisma. He's a talker. He can wrestle as good as you need him to. I think they cashed in as much as WWE likes to put out the image that they don't care about AEW, even though they seem to try and counter-program everything they do.
Everything.
They made it seem like a big deal that they got Ricky Starks from AEW, which it was. Like, that was a big deal that Ricky Starks showed up, but they had no actual plans on what to do with him from there. And I think it's a booking problem. I don't think it's a Ricky problem because Ricky is as talented as you could need someone to be in that company.
I don't want it to be that, but I just had to ask the question because it's just same, different day. All right. like we said, this past weekend we also had a local wrestling promotion. Austin Reddick picked himself up a victory, as a matter of fact, not just on the pre-show. No. On the actual show, too, ladies and gentlemen. And if you were not there live,
victory.
yes, which earned Jamie a win in a bet against one Mr. Ray Leone. For those who were not watching our pre-show, go back and watch it. It's fantastic. Okay.
Which I was told by another person that was a very bold and ballsy thing to do, and I was like, dude, you don't know who I am. If you don't know, like, that's how I roll.
I mean,
so we're gonna have to get him on the show. We're gonna have to get Ray on the show.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Great.
Well, he is committed to be on at least the next pre-show. So it's gonna be a little bit. I think it's gonna be like into summer is when the next. I believe August, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know the exact dates and all that stuff yet.
August 15th.
Oh, we got the exact date. August 15th. There we go. So
on a whiteboard in the kitchen just so I don't forget these wrestling dates. So yes, Fountain City, August 15th.
The man who's actually going to be there doing stuff, right? But we'll be there doing stuff too. But no, it's fantastic. For those of you unaware, maybe if you're not local to Kansas City as well too, you can see the shows live from Fountain City Pro. If you want to see what we're talking about, some of the people we're talking about, if you want to see one Mr. Austin Reddick, sans clothing, wrestling in an actual ring, you can go to Fountain City Pro's Patreon. You know what I'm getting at, Jamie. Stop it. Okay. Fountain City Pro's Patreon, patreon.com/Fountain City Pro KC is where they do stream them there. But yeah, good times are had by all, and we love doing that. We have a lot of good friends over there in Fountain City. It's definitely a great time. So we're excited for the next show, and we have another wrestling promotion before that. Central States Wrestling coming up here in just a little bit. So we'll get more information on that as we get it. Anything else you guys want to get to this evening?
Nope.
Jamie's
a lot of wrestling, man. That's a lot of wrestling.
A lot of wrestling.
I mean, we do have a new TNA World Champion.
Oh, yeah, we do. Trick Williams.
Just buy it already. Just buy it and fold it into NXT. Come on.
The goal is to have him drop it to Santana Slammiversary. We all know
I understand that, but I just want to see him pull the plug on it. It's like we already know where this is going to end up, and no amount of
buy him and put the TNA library on Peacock so I could watch that in between 1980s WCW shows.
That's really the biggest thing and reason I want that to happen, But anyway, well, and the good thing I will say about TNA is you're giving people, some people that we know, a spot to go. Like we know Heather Reckless over there, Maggie Lee signed by them. They have a couple of new signees too. Some people from the internet you might have seen around there. Harley Hudson from over in Britain. I've been following her for a little bit. I'm excited to see her actually wrestle in America here for TNA. So I mean, they're giving a lot of good people, a chance to kind of get in and eventually get to NXT, WWE, potentially AEW. So, hey, it has its role, just not what it used to be.
Somewhat TNA adjacent. We'll address one more quick rumor from the internet that I don't think is very likely, if at all possible. But I don't know if y'all have seen the speculation that at All In, we might get Will Ospreay versus AJ Styles. Would you put that at a 0 or a 0.1% chance of happening?
I'd give it 0.1. I'm not going to go all out 0.
And if it did happen, how many changes of underpants would you need to get through that match?
4.
We can hope. It won't happen, but we can hope.
Jamie's furiously researching something right now. I don't know what.
Trying to find out when his contract expires.
That was the speculation. It was supposed to be up sometime soon. But then there's the thought that the injury time was added from when he broke his foot or whatever last fall.
There's always time added.
So who knows? But what if?
I mean, do you think that they
I'm
won't
gonna give
re-sign
it a negative 10% chance of happening. Now, later in the year, full gear, I will definitely increase it.
Just,
Okay.
I would love an AJ Styles AEW run before he hangs it up.
I think we're gonna get that. I think we'll get it. I don't know if he's done with WWE though. I mean,
I think he is. I think he wants a little bit more glory, and he can get glory in AEW.
There's nothing left for him to do with WWE.
that's a good point.
And I'm not even
Yeah.
sad about him being there. Like every time he's around, I'll tune into what he's doing. But I want to see him have that one last run at a place where he can go out there and wrestle like we know AJ Styles can wrestle.
I mean, he had the big pop and surprise entrance, right? He's had WrestleMania moments. He's been a world champion. So I mean,
Not at all.
yeah, I mean, boxes checked. I can see him. I could definitely see him do at some point, whether it's this year or next or whatever, right? I could definitely see him do the whole Danielson final run thing. So, but bro, when we get that, him, not just him and Ospreay, him and Omega one last time. Come on.
Him and Okada?
Oh, let's go.
Oh. We can dream. We can dream.
We can dream. Jamie's ready to go to sleep. We're gonna have to wrap this up here. All right.
No. I'm just going through all the AJ Styles like hit list like Bryan Danielson did.
Mhm.
Like, oh hey, let's see him go against Takeshita and let's see how many stars Meltzer's gonna give it. You know.
Yeah. And you talk about one that had the TNA back catalog to watch on Peacock, bro. Like peak AJ. Oh.
Peak AJ was different.
Like you've heard me magnanimously talk. That's like the 5th time that word's been used tonight, Jamie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's 100% you. But you've heard me pontificate about that. There you go. How about that? About Styles Joe Daniels one, right? And I will to this day. But around that part of his career when he was like big in the X Division title picture, when it was bouncing back and forth and all over the place. Oh my God, that AJ Styles was just reckless abandon in the best way possible. So okay, all right,
So good.
that's what we got. All right, so. Lots of wrestling going on. Lots of wrestling coming up here. So we will be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. If it's your first time here, once again, I don't know. Every time I clap my hands, it seems like the thing freezes up. That's weird. I don't know why it does that. Give me a second. I don't know what I did. It just all of a sudden it... All right, I think we're back now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally, I hooked everything on my.
It does cut the audio. The audio.
It did. No, I had to restart the capture on the audio. All right, I'll troubleshoot that this week. Brand new computer, new camera, new hardware, so I didn't fully bug everything out here. I'm sorry. But no, for those of you, again, that want to put up with our shenanigans, like sometimes freezing, we do this every week. We'll be back next week, same bad time, same bad channel. If it's your first time here, once again, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the little bell icon to know when we go live. Give us a big thumbs up. It helps us quite a bit. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down till Spotfest, I got 5 words for you.
It's the same thing every time, Austin. How do you not know this?
I'm the champ for life.
Well, he changed it, but it's still 5 words every fucking
That's 6 words.
time.
I'm
Wait, no,
the champ.
I was thinking I am the champ
Oh.
instead of I'm. Like I was elongating that. Either way.
I
All right, guys, we'll
apostrophe
see you next week.
him.
Later.